Hi guys, well it's the 22nd, it's lockdown Randall's here, lockdown Wildlife Aid. Funny, everybody says I should be locked up, not locked down.
I agree.
Laurie agrees, you can hear him chatting on the background. I've got him on my left ear on the telephone so he can tell me what's going on. Thank you so much for coming on to us all. My daughter's here as well, Lou, and Myra, the old Myra's here as well. Oh, so much going on. We're doing this a bit earlier. It's a 2-week live because we just thought everybody's stuck in lockdown. I know some of you must be feeling a bit depressed, a bit despondent, a bit worried. Tonight you can talk about anything you like. I'm happy to go anywhere on any subject, and heaven help you if I really start ranting, because that's what I tend to do. And Laurie gets very scared. It's sad actually because I can't see Laurie tonight, so I don't know what his facial expressions are, because he does get very worried when I suddenly go absolutely off at random. So guys, welcome. Thanks so much for listening. We're just getting busy now. I mean, today actually, having been really quiet and worried about not getting very much in, we're now getting very busy. I'm trying to look at the camera with one eye and look at the screen with the other eye, so I might let my eye off the screen a bit, but Laurie will prompt me, I dare, so I shall hear him in my left ear.
Yep.
Busy day today. We had no badger cubs in last week. We now have 6. We had 4 in at the weekend. We've got another 2 today. I actually say it's 5.5 badger cubs because one of them is very, very poorly. We're having to supplement its feed. Just hope it makes it. It's dehydrated. It was very, very cold when it came in. Lots of things wrong with it. We're doing our best as always. And then this morning, Laurie, who's got lots to do anyway because I can't do so much at the moment, we were out on a rescue. We had a call yesterday from a couple who had found a tiny baby tawny owl chick. Whether Laurie's putting that up on the screen, I have no idea.
Yep,
He'll have to tell me. So we found this chick at the bottom of a tree, looking very miserable. The tree was right there. We knew which tree it was from. We were pretty sure, but the tree was, I don't know how to describe it. It was really swaying badly. It's quite windy here. So we took a drone up and we thought we could see the mother owl or one of the parents in the nest, but it was in a very precarious place. We couldn't get up to it yesterday, so we went back this morning, and thank heavens we did, guys, because we got back there to put this tawny owl chick back, and I walked across to get back to the tree, and lo and behold, at the bottom of the tree was another tawny owl chick. So obviously that had fallen out of the nest too. So we had a bit of a dilemma. If they're all falling out the nest, do we want to put them back? And how we deal with it. So we took with us an amazing guy, a mate of ours. He runs a company in Dorking. He's a great arborist, so he climbs trees. I actually make him do all the dodgy work when I can, because if Laurie climbs a tree and falls out of the tree, I just can't tell you the grief I'm going to get from his mum. You have no idea. I'm very scared of Laurie's mum. She scares me a lot. So he went up the tree for us. Laurie was the second climb. If we do a big climb like this, it was about, I don't know, 12, 15 meters up. It's a long way and a dangerous tree anyway. So we always need 2 climbers. We need the safety of it. So this guy went up the tree, had a look, found the nest. It was precariously in sort of a bit of a wedge between 2 branches, but a very flat open nest. So dilemma number 2, what do we do? So anyway, Dan went up there and he had a good look and he rebuilt the nest. So he became a champion tawny owl nest builder in about 3 seconds, and he built the nest. We sent him stuff up to build it with. So at the end we ended up with a nest about 25 centimeters in diameter, about sort of 10 centimeters in height, so hopefully that will contain the babies. And we got both babies back, so really good news so far. The couple who found the first owlet were really very helpful, and they're going to go back tonight. They've already been back once and not seen anything on the ground, which is a good sign. And they're going to go back later on tonight to see if they can see mum coming in feeding, and then they go back tomorrow to see what's going on. So I think a lot of wildlife centres get baby tawny owl chicks in, but not many of them are equipped to deal with it as we are, insofar as we will send experts back out to see if we can get the babies back. We always, any baby, whatever breed it is, if we can get it back to its natural parents, that's what we try to do. So I like to think that we do go the extra mile and we do get these owlets back. So my fingers are tight crossed tonight that these 2 owlets make it, but the people have my direct telephone number. They'll ring me if something goes wrong. So let's hope mum and dad are there. We know mum was still feeding this morning, because when Dan got up to the top of the nest and had a look down, there's a freshly killed great tit in the nest. So obviously the parents were still feeding the one chick, so he obviously hadn't been down that long. So guys, everybody say a little prayer tonight. Fingers crossed, let's see if they make it. Now, having said all that and ranting on like I do, I missed all those questions. So Laurie, have you got anything that I need to talk about particularly?
We've had a few questions coming in, really. I think that the first one is from Scottish Astronomer, who's actually the winner of the signed book that you gave away last week. Who's written, I received your signed book today, Simon. It's brilliant. Thank you. You might want to see that one.
You are a star. Thank you for that. There are a few swear words in that book. It's funny. I did a radio show for about 2-3 years a while ago, and everybody's terrified of me doing live things because I do swear like a trooper, I'm afraid, guys. I have been known to swear.
We edit him a lot.
But on live, I have never yet sworn. This could be the first night that it happens, but I'll try really hard. I'll try very hard not to. Unless, of course, we ever do a live feed after 9 p.m, which we call the Watershed, then you might find that Simon's swearing a bit. But the book's interesting. It's sort of me. It's very, very abridged, really. Look, Nigel Grant keeps sending us money. He sent us another £25 today. Nigel, you are a star. And Isaiah Martin has sent us $19.99. You're a star as well. I don't know whether you're in the States, young man, or you're here, but tell us what you're all thinking about lockdown. Tell us how you're dealing with it, whether it's really affecting you badly mentally, because I know, I mean, I'm finding that I'm sitting here, I can deal with it most of the time, but you get those parts of the day when you suddenly, I get really angry. And it's even worse for me here because I can't hit Laurie because I can't get to him because he runs away from me with a mask on. I do get frustrated, I do get angry, and you know, when you do get like that, it's very depressing. If you need to talk to us, if you need to send me an email, if you need a bit of encouragement from me, you know what I'm going to say to you. I'm saying, if you're thinking of dying, guys, just make sure your wills are made out to Wildlife Aid first. I've got a very sick sense of humour, people, but you know, all charities now. I've just said it, Laurie, it's live. They can't stop me. I'm running wild tonight. But honestly, guys, it's going to be a hard time. All charities are going to suffer. Our fundraising efforts are already down, or donations are down by 70% for normal for this time of year. But because I'm such a mean, nasty boss, and I worked in the city for a very, very long time, I've always really run this place rather like a corporate. So we've got enough funds to run for a couple of years without having to worry, which is more than a lot of charities can say. I've always been, or found it really important to us as a charity to be professional, and so if something goes horribly wrong like this has, we never knew we'd get anything as bad as this, but we will be okay for probably a lot longer than some charities. So guys, help all the charities out you can. I obviously prefer you help us and nobody else, but there's a lot of people out there who are going to need your help. And it's going to be difficult. So, you know, any fundraising you can do when we get out of this lockdown situation, any help you can give, either financially or by running a fundraising event, would be just amazing for any charity out there. So we're still okay, guys. You know we'll be all right, because I'm a stubborn old man, and if I need to do a couple of burglaries or a couple of major bank jobs to get the money in, I'll send Laurie, because he is expandable and expendable. So there we are. Right, any more questions I've missed, Laurie?
I can't trust you.
No, you can't trust me.
One that is quite relevant to this at the moment. Why aren't you and I wearing masks at the moment?
Because I am in my office. I'm all alone. Nobody comes to see me. They've said to me for years, Simon, you should be locked up. When instead of being locked up, guys, I'm in lockdown. But I'm all alone. Don't have to wear a mask because there's nobody here. If I do go out, we wear masks. We went on this rescue this morning. We were masked up and gloved up and everything, and we kept obviously our proper 2 meters distance at least. And you know, when Laurie hasn't washed for a couple of days, I tend to keep 3 or 4 meters away from him, as he does with me. It's great for me. I don't have to shave at the moment. I don't see anybody. It's blissful. But anyway, we're getting busier. It's great. I love it when it's busy. I love the rescues. I love the excitement. So, you know, got any questions? Bang us questions tonight, because I'm going to answer any questions about any topic you care to mention. Laurie will be scared, and that should make you excited as well. Let's see where we go.
Brandon Pragnell said he works at Brent Lodge for a wildlife trust. Do you know of it?
I've never heard of I've never heard of Brent Lodge. Terrible people, all charities apart from Wildlife. We know Brent Lodge. Really nice people down there. We do stuff with them. We did, I think we took something from them last year and we gave them, yeah, we work. Wildlife hospitals should work more closely together. It's really important. You know, we are quite good at what we do, but there are times when we get over full with some animals or somebody gets something they can't cope with. You need to work as a cooperative. I mean, years ago when we started Wildlife Aid, I tried to get all the wildlife hospitals together because I thought it'd be a great thing to do. We could have one fundraiser between all of us. We could do far greater things if we were one big cooperative unit. It didn't work. I will keep trying until the day I die. But yeah, we do work with some wildlife hospitals, and you know, we all have our own different ethos. It's slightly different, but we're all basically trying to achieve the same thing. We're trying to achieve the best we can for our native British wildlife. So anybody out there, Brent Lodge especially, hello Brent Lodge, nice to speak to you. Come and join us on this chat. I wonder whether they will. Oh God, I've just seen somebody pop up, Laurie, on here.
Uh-oh.
That's a bit worrying. Lucy from Wildlife Aid. She can't, you know, she's a worrying woman. She's quite old now, Laurie, Lucy. One thing, guys, you'll be able to see quite soon. Lucy said the word limoncello to me, which is a story that I might answer later. Perhaps not just yet. But Lucy was on the phone to me the other day, and we were right in the middle of chatting, and she suddenly put the phone down, screamed, and said, "There's a blue tit on the ground, a baby blue tit." So she went running off, said, "I'll call you back, I'll call you back." So we actually got her to film her rescue of the baby blue tit. She got her husband Sean, who is a brilliant, brilliant wildlife rescuer, to climb up the tree. And I've been worried for 2 or 3 years now that, you know, I can't do everything I used to be able to do. I find it harder to climb up things, to do things. And Lucy sent me the footage of her husband trying to climb up this tree. Well, old man, what can I say to you, but we're going to put it on the video. Sean really struggled climbing up this tree, and not only that, because he sort of tried to skim it in a pair of shorts as he went up the bark, he got scratched to pieces, and Lucy very stupidly sent us pictures of the scratch on the inside of Sean's legs. They will also be on the video, so you can all see that Sean is getting nearly as slow as I am. He's a lot younger than me, which is a bit of annoying, but no, she got the blue tits, or he got the blue tits back into the nest. It was a great rescue release, and I've got all the pictures to rib Sean about for the next 10 years. I love it, guys. I love it.
This is just abuse now.
Yeah, it is. It is abuse. We're going to abuse everybody tonight. It's one of those nights, isn't it, really?
Several questions have come in. We've actually had 2 more donations. One from Lania Lucy, who is a regular on this chat. That's €5 that she's put for the boxes, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And then Kees van Spelde has donated €25 and has written, "Keep up the good work and greetings again from the Netherlands." So thank you very much once again.
I still want to come to the Netherlands, guys. I will still go anywhere to talk about wildlife. If you want to hear an insane man for 2 hours spouting on about wildlife and many other things, get me a ticket, book a hall, get it filled up with people so you don't lose any money, and we'll go for it. I love talking about what I do. I'm passionate about it. And yeah, I'll go anywhere in the world to talk about what we do and what people need to do for our wildlife, because we really need to help it. I'm going to put a word in the conversation now. I'm going to say nothing more. I'm going to say 2 words it is. I'm going to say paradigm shift. So note that, paradigm shift. Anybody got any comments about that? Come back to us in the chat, and I'm going to leave it there for now.
A comment from Hayley Robinson, who's got hello from, I think it's Quan Wildlife in Shropshire, CUAN.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, I have. I follow them on Facebook, but I cannot pronounce their name, so I apologise for that. If you can leave the pronunciation in the comments, that would be very helpful. She's put, "You're a brilliant rescue, so thank you very much, reciprocated. We do follow your work as well."
Are you talking about Laurie now? You're talking about me? Because if you talk about Laurie, I should get really upset. If you talk about me, I should be really flattered. But yeah, I used to be a brilliant rescuer, and now anything really difficult, I have to send Laurie, because he's actually as good as I am now. He won't take that. He won't take that lying down or even standing up. But he can do the things I can't do, and I don't think Sean can do anymore either. So that's a bit of a laugh. If Sean comes back to the UK, we'll have to go and do a rescue together. We'll go in our wheelchairs. That's obviously the way to do it, with the blankets over our knees. But yeah, nice to speak to you all, guys. Lovely that you're here tonight. You know, let's keep talking. Anything, as I say, anything and everything we'll talk about.
I've got a question from Kate Woods, who's actually one of our ambassadors. Kate has raised £10,000 a year for us
for 10 years.
Nearly 10 years.
Yeah, over 10 years. She's raised £100,000 so far.
Absolutely.
Kate, you're brilliant. But Laurie, Kate, I don't know about Kate. She must be getting old as well, because I said last year she should get it up to £100,000 a year, and she hasn't done it yet. I don't know what's the matter with the girl. I don't know what's the matter with her. Kate, you're a star. You've been brilliant. I mean, £100,000, and it doesn't come easy. Every year I know what she does. I see what she does, and she talks to me. I mean, she'll get 600 quid at some events, and if you think you've got to raise 10,000 quid, that's a lot of 600 quid. So Kate, you are a star. I raise my glass to you, which of course doesn't have any Bacardi in it at all.
Well, so Kate is a little concerned about the amount of plastic that is being seen in birds' nests at the moment. Do you have any sort of comments on that?
Yeah, I do. We've actually started to cut open when animals die with this. We don't cut them open when they're alive, I hasten to add. But we do look at stomach contents now, because I mean, I know birds' nests for the last 5 or 6 years have had more and more plastic and really loads of human fibre type stuff, glitter stuff, everything in it. So if you do see something like that, you'll see a bird's nest or see anything that is being built because of human waste, then send us a picture, because it's always quite useful to build up a library. And I mean, I think animals are ingesting far more plastic. Don't get me talking about the plastic in the oceans, because it terrifies me. I don't think we have any idea as the human race of how bad that problem is. I mean, David Attenborough has been talking about it, so have others. I don't think we've even touched the size. It's not even the tip of the iceberg. I think we have massive problems coming from that, as we do from other things. I mean, maybe this coronavirus may teach us a lesson, whether we'll listen, whether we'll take note. But I think the planet has told us for a long time now that we need to sort of back off and respect where we live. It provides for us. We don't need it. Sorry, let's say that again. We do need it. It doesn't need us. But I think, you know, we need to take notice of this. This is why that word paradigm shift came up. You know, hopefully we will as a race now begin to think of the benefits of having less cars on the road, less pollution, and that we need to respect the planet that provides for us. That's my deep bit over, Laurie.
That was very deep.
It was quite deep for me.
That usually goes to.
I nearly fell in it. It was so deep.
So Hayley just told me C-U-A-N is actually pronounced Quan, Q-A-N, Quan. So that was something that I didn't know before, so thank you for that. Armpit fuzz is for, obviously the lack of traffic can only be good for wildlife. Do you think it could up figures for any endangered species like hedgehogs or anything like that?
Lack of traffic, obviously less traffic will help. I mean, we're finding over the last 4 years that we're doing progressively less rescues. Now, we don't know whether that's because people aren't ringing us, or whether they don't care, or whether there's less wildlife to be rescued. So that's an ongoing question, and you know, we can't work out quite why it is, but we're probably doing less than a third of the rescues than we used to do 5 years ago. So very strange. When we were filming SOS back in the sort of up to about 2010, we went out in the summer on 5 or 6 rescues a day. Now we're lucky to get 1 or 2, so things are changing and we can't quite work out why, whether it's lack of wildlife or whatever. Without the number of cars on the roads, it will be amazing. What scares me is if when we lose lockdown and we go back out, we're suddenly there's gonna be, you know, 100 times more cars on the roads, and so there'll be massive problems to wildlife. I was driving through Cobham the other day, which is a town not very far from me, and there were ducks just walking up the high street, on the pavement and on the road, just trotting around as if it was a normal thing, which is beautiful to see, and people were just looking at them and watching them while they were standing in their queues. It's beautiful, but you know, when we get back to normal, if we do, I just hope to God that we have the respect for wildlife and realise that it's going to take a few days to realise that it doesn't quite have the area to go on then as it does now. I think it'd be good for wildlife, obviously, providing it keeps on going, and I hope perhaps we do use our cars a little less. I hope we do use a bit less petrol, and I hope we do respect our planet far more than we are at the moment.
Yeah. It's worth saying as well that in terms of our patient admissions, we're fairly normal. I think we've only had about 16 fewer patients this month than we had this time last year. So it is still going on. It's just, it depends on, I think a lot of the rescues that are happening at the moment, a lot of people are doing themselves. We had a call from a gentleman a couple of days ago who had a fox cub trapped in a fence in his garden. He actually had cut that away and then brought it into us for a check, whereas usually we would go out and deal with something like that ourselves. So I think that is changing the balance a bit on how we're working, but we're still getting in just as many animals as we normally would.
That's cool. Just to anybody who does sort of cut an animal out of fence or out of football nets or nets of any sort, you've got to remember two things. Firstly, if it's very tightly around the body or the leg of the animal, you can get what's called constriction wounds, and they're not immediately obvious. So if you get something like that and it's wrapped really tight around it, it does need to go into a wildlife hospital to be checked, because 2 or 3 days later you might see where there's constrictions of the limb, and then you have blood supply problems. So you can't just release it. If it's very loose around it, absolutely fine, but just do think, I mean, as I say with anybody brings anything, just give us a call first and ask our advice. Our receptionists are brilliantly trained. They don't get it wrong, because if they did, Alice would probably kill them. Alice is the most scary person you'll ever meet in your life, and so dedicated to what we do. So we've written a manual for all our receptionists, which is so detailed. But just ring us up, ask for advice. Providing the animal's not in mortal danger, give us a call first. We got a call today about a deer. We get calls all day, every day, about various things, and we take 60, 70 calls a day in the summer, which is an awful lot, but we deal with them as best we can, and hopefully quite well.
So, Coco the Quail has asked, what degree did you get, I get, or anyone get, to be a licensed animal rescuer?
You have to be at least 3rd or not 4th degree insane to be an animal rescuer. You then have to learn, and it's probably the most difficult bit of the job, to work and put up with Laurie. That's taking it to a whole new realm. Nothing,
Definitely
guys.
the way around.
You need to have passion. You need to have tolerance, which I do towards animals, not often towards people. And you need to have patience. Some rescues you had to go in there like a bull in a china shop, but more often than not, very quietly, very slowly, and it can sometimes take you ages just to move a few feet without scaring the animal to death. You've got to feel it, guys. People have asked me a lot of times to write a book about how you do wildlife rescues. I don't know whether it's writable, and I think you will know if you're good at it or not. I can tell in literally a few rescues whether somebody's going to be good at it or not. It's all about the feel and the passion and the patience. So that's what it's all about.
Interesting enough, that's actually why we started filming our rescues. The original intention when we were doing it was to actually train up other rescuers. It's very difficult to bring someone out on a rescue because you tend to be in the zone, you're not really needing any interference, and you don't want someone there who doesn't necessarily know what they're doing, could potentially get in the way or get injured or anything like that. So we filmed the rescues as a way to show people how we were doing things, and then it progressed into the series and now up onto YouTube.
There we are. That's how the insanity spreads in this place. Insanity is a very good start to wildlife rescue, but passion is what it's all about, guys. At the end of the day, you've got to love it, and love it I do.
Ron Cook has asked, on that topic, will we ever be back on TV?
Who knows? We've tried a few times. We did 16 years and I was getting a bit fed up with it after that because it's very draining. I mean, you're not only having to do the work you do, but you're having to think about producing a TV series as well, which was sort of double, if not treble, the strain. That's why really we came off TV and did a YouTube channel, because we can do what we want. We're not restricted on what we do. Some TV makes you dumb it down. They don't want it to be reality. When we started filming, I said I wanted it to be realistic. So if we save 70% of the animals and lose 30% because they die or they don't make it, I want to show reality. And they got really cross every time we showed a death or something going wrong. And this world is real, guys. We get one shot at it. I need to show reality and we need to be real about it. So we're not actively pushing. We mention every now and then to people, if they say they're interested, we'd consider it. But the YouTube channel really is our gateway to the world. It's had something like, how many views, Laurie, now? 120 million or something?
Yeah, something like that. Almost 400,000 subscribers.
400,000 subscribers, and we need more. So please get the subscribers up. I promise Laurie that I would get him the YouTube million viewer thing, because we had the 100,000 one. He got really excited about that, so he'll probably have a major heart attack if we get the million one. But it's our way not only of showing you what we do, it's showing you, it's educating you as to why you need to do it and what we do. And there's my phone ringing, which I'm about to decline that call because it's probably a rescue. Somebody else can do it, but it's there for multiple reasons. It's there to teach people, to show people, to encourage people, to make people passionate about wildlife. So get all your friends to come on board with YouTube as well. And we could even, I mean, let's face it, if we got enough money in the end, Laurie, we could actually make a TV series especially for YouTube. It's not out the realms of possibility, but it's quite expensive. I mean, when we were doing TV all those years ago, it was about, we used to get, it sounds weird, but we actually got about £1,500 per minute. That's of aired minutes. So a series would cost us, you know, quite a lot of money. But if we made enough money, I'd love to make a series for YouTube. I'd love to get on Netflix and places like that, but Netflix are far posher than we are, guys. And I don't think they take a little odd dot like ours. But if you know anyone, ask the question. We're here, we do what we do. That's what we're all about.
We have actually made a couple of pilot episodes, and that got quite far, but unfortunately didn't reach the last hurdle. But you never know. Never say never.
Never say never. That would be a good title for a film.
I'm fairly sure it is the title for a film.
Funny that, Laurie. Never mind. Off we go. Ask me some more stuff.
Lots of people are saying that they qualify on the insanity requirement, so that's quite good. We can get a whole team of rescuers in.
Excellent. Then you and I can retire and live in... I've always wanted to start Wildlife Aid Barbados, actually. I love Barbados. I love the Caribbean. I just love to start. I think you and I should go out to Barbados and buy a nice boat and take people out on charters. And then people can run this place. I know, but no, everybody else would pay, Laurie. Everybody else would pay for us to have a great time.
How economics work.
Oh, doesn't it? Doesn't it work like that? Never mind. Let me get some more COVID-19. That'll do it for me.
Speaking of economics, and this is actually one of the segues that I've done that actually works, we've had a few more donations in. Diamond Vortex donated £4.99, so thank you very much. Paul Laurie, I like your last name, has donated £5. Has put, what is the hardest rescue you've ever undertaken?
Everybody asks that.
Yeah.
It changes from day to day when I suddenly think about things. I mean, I can probably remember most of the rescues we've done through the last 40 years, which is absurd. I think one of the hardest ones, which I actually did with Sean a long time ago, but it didn't feel, it's funny, it was the hardest one we probably ever did, but it didn't film that well, so it didn't look hard. But it was a young deer down in a 6-inch gap between a shed and a wall, 10 feet down, and you had one shot of getting it out. It would have broken its leg or done damage, and obviously we got it out and it was absolutely fine. And to me that was really one of the most heart-wrenching rescues we did, because if we dropped it or something had gone wrong, that would have been curtains. And we did it and we got it out. That was cool. But yeah, each rescue is very different. I mean, everybody says, which species do I prefer, which rescue do I prefer? I prefer the one I'm going to do tomorrow. That's always the answer, because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring. And yes, I am vaping 2 cigarettes at once because I get a bit desperate because Laurie scares me so much.
At least it's vaping.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a lot of people who think you're still on cigarettes, but I
have some of those, but I only how about this, guys, from 60 cigarettes a day to 5. Now that's not bad, is it, really? That's not bad. So, keep going. Ask me questions, people. Ask me questions.
Pixie Jane Pickering has asked, have you ever rescued a polecat?
No. We're not in that part of the world where we get polecats. We've rescued...
We have done stoats, even ferrets.
Stoats, ferrets, weasels, all the polecats. No, I don't know. Pine martins, polecats, not yet. You never know when they might come down to Surrey, and we'll be ready, guys. We'll be out there.
We have actually had a call to someone saying they had a polecat, but that did turn out to be a ferret that looked remarkably like a polecat.
Yeah.
So
we get a lot of those. There's a big adder in my garden. It's a grass snake. Yeah. So there we are.
Well, what was it? We had a baby heron coming in last week, and we were all really excited because we've never actually seen a baby heron here, and when it arrived it was baby pigeon.
Funny that.
So we're still excited, but not quite as excited.
We did a few years ago, probably before your time, Laurie, we got a baby golden eagle in. It was a duckling. young golden eagles start with webbed feet, then they lose the webs and they become golden eagles. No, we do get, honestly, we get some very funny things here. Not trying to diss the public at all, but you do get some funny comments. We should actually do a book of all the funny things that have happened, because, you know, it's what we do is difficult. You have to have a real sick sense of humour sometimes to get over it. You have to really get rid of it, otherwise it's awful. But some of the things we get from the public just make us laugh, and that's what keeps us going.
Hayley Robinson from Quine Wildlife Rescue, I now know that, has put, do you offer short-term voluntary positions for experienced wildlife rescuers to develop additional experience?
Oh my God, how do I start with that one? No, you can go and live with Laurie for a year if you like.
No one wants that.
We don't do short-term volunteers here because obviously there's quite a lot to teach you. There's quite a big process to go through, so you know what to do and how to do it. So we like a regular commitment. As to rescuers, if you're an experienced wildlife rescuer, that's absolutely fine. We'd love to have your number on our books, and we'd love to use you if we ever need you, because I mean we go out to loads and loads of rescues, and we can't all do them all. I mean, we had 2 rescues running at once today, and then we had, when we went out to one rescue, Laurie was supposed to be filming something else here and we couldn't do that. So it's all hands to the wheel when we have to. But yeah, you know, ring us, email us basically. If you've got a question or you think we can help or you need advice, always email us, because we will get back to them. I try to never not email anybody back. Never not email. That's a double different thingy-bob, Laurie, isn't it?
I'll teach you English one day.
No, I don't like English. I like Simon language. That's much better. Cheryl Kincaid, thank you very much. Canadian $25. That's very nice. I just noticed that, Laurie, all by myself.
You did.
So yeah, that's not bad.
One, though.
Anything else? Give me something else.
Well, going back to donations, Mostly Sane has donated £10, has put evening votes. It sounds like you're all on good form and avoiding the lurgy. Great news. And insanity, sorry, I guess that means I don't qualify.
No, if you're not insane, you don't qualify.
I've had a few questions actually. So Myra, who is actually one of our volunteers, and is unfortunately having to isolate at the moment, so best wishes to you, Myra, has asked, how are we coping now that we've got fewer volunteers, fewer staff members, we're all sort of having to do a multitude of jobs?
We're sort of coping all right at the moment. We are really just on the cusp of the orphan season, as was proven today, because we really haven't, everything suddenly went off today at once, and Laurie and I were rushing out and rushing here, there, and filming stuff and everything else. So we're on the cusp of it. I suspect, if you want an honest answer, that we are going to be in trouble, or more trouble, come the next 3 or 4 weeks. We will do our very best to overcome it, and we will overcome it, because we overcome everything if we have to. But yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough orphan season, I think. We'll see how it runs.
I mean, we have to say we are incredibly grateful for the volunteers that have given their time to come in to help us out again and again and again on shift after shift after shift. We really couldn't keep working without some of you guys, so a huge thank you to everyone who has kept us running, I think.
Without doubt. I mean, they have gone above and beyond and back again. Some of them, brilliant effort. They always, you know, they always step up to the mark. And they like coming in now, because I can't go up there and see them, so they don't get any abuse from me. They don't have to look at me. To them, I'm not here anymore, so everything's working really well without me. And if Alice agrees to that on this, I should be really cross.
It's true.
Thank you.
Unum Pentium has asked, do we get falcons in the UK?
Oh, we do? Off you go, Laurie. You can list all the falcons, and if you get one wrong, I'll have to fire you for it.
I'm not going to risk that. We do get an awful lot of falcons. The ones we tend to get in, we get peregrine falcons, probably most common. We do get things like merlins as well, and hobbies and kestrels and all of the other ones.
We've had a saker once, I remember, too.
Yeah. We've had a couple of crosses as well, and then we've had escaped falconry birds, Harris hawks. We had an eagle owl. We've had a number of those. We've had calls to other ones. We've had a number of calls to an eagle owl that seems to be evading capture from everyone. A lot of people in the comments are saying, thanks to what you've managed to do on the series and on YouTube, that they've been able to help out animals and rescue animals by themselves and help them get back to the wild. So I thought you might want to know that one.
It's all very well. We're getting lots of comments here about don't tell Simon. I love this. I've never, to be honest, it's the first chat I've had where I've been seeing the questions coming out, which is if I look away from you, it's because I'm trying to read the screen which is just below you. But it's quite fascinating reading the screen because I know Laurie will shield me from some of the questions that I quite like to answer, and he gets scared because he thinks I might answer them in the wrong way. So
I haven't got to some of those yet. We have a lot of questions.
I can see lots of them backing up. Simon is a little bit scared of snakes. Absolute rubbish. I love snakes to pieces. I like to live with them, sleep with them, and do all sorts of things with them as long as they're not poisonous. And as we only have a few of those in the UK, I'm quite safe, guys. I'm even a bit scared of adders, to be honest. Yeah. But there we are.
You like snakes about as much as you like height, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, probably about right. Yeah, that's about right. I looked at this guy up the tree today, and he was, as I say, he was about 13, 14 metres up a tree, and those days are long gone for me, guys. It was a lot of effort and a lot of body strength to get up there and get down again. But it was fun, and let's just hope those Tawny our chicks make it, and I know the people will stay in touch with me to let me know what's going on. So we'll make sure we do it right.
A few people have asked, including Brandon Pragnell from one of the other wildlife rescues that we were discussing earlier, what's the rarest animal we've ever had in the centre?
Lorry Brayley. It is a Lorry Brayley. It's a subspecies of a subspecies of a subspecies. Actually, even rarer is Laurie's mummy. She's even rarer than Laurie, and she does scare me much more than Laurie. We just had £100 from somebody, Laurie. I've nearly had a heart attack.
That is Sven.
Oh, not Sven again. Sven, you're just showing off, Sven. You are just showing off. But Sven, from Simon, show off all you want. Love you to pieces, man. This man is so generous. Every live stream. Do you think if we did a live stream every day, we get £100 a day, Laurie? That'd be quite interesting. Let's try. Let's put him to the test to see if he'd do it.
No.
Okay, we won't then. Question from Nigel Grant. How are the funds coming along for the new wildlife centre? Don't ask, Nigel, really. We are going to build the wetlands starting actually next month, providing the weather's good. We're going to build all the wetlands out because we need to do that first because they take a long time to mature. But I mean, we need about, even to do the base centre, we need probably £5-6 million to do this centre. And obviously now of all times, it's probably the worst time in the world we could ever have tried to do this. We will do it in the end, but it's going to be hard. If anybody wins the lottery, please let us know. Somebody won 50 million on Friday, and I spent the next 3 days trying to find out who it was so I could ring them and say, excuse me, could we just have a little bit, please? We need to protect our wildlife, but it's going to come, I think still, I believe the centre will come from either high net worth individuals or somebody's just won the lottery or something like that. We're praying, if you need it badly enough, hopefully it will happen. We'll get there, guys, but we're going to build the wetlands. That will cost us about just under £500,000, but it will take 3 or 4 years at least to mature. We then got to plant it and make it look pretty and do everything we've got to do, and then we'll go from there. So we are still trying. Anybody knows anybody with lots of money, be very, very nice to them and see if they'll give some to Wildlife Aid. I've got to stop talking about money because I get into trouble.
Scottish astronomer has actually put, what was in the box that we sent the book in because her cat's very attracted to it. That was actually fish originally. It's in a sealed separate compartment, but that was the outer box for that one. We did reuse that one, so I think that might be why your cats are very...
Sorry about that. Sorry, they had their extra dose of fish smell. I thought it was Laurie's perfume actually, but never mind.
Not quite that bad. Push by Cam has put, hello Simon, do you miss any of your old vets and volunteers?
I miss everybody. I tend to forget them because I've got a memory like a sieve. It's weird because I see our volunteers now. If I'm down at shopping at Tesco's or wherever we go and people say, hi Simon, how are you? I've no idea who they are. A, they're in sort of reasonably sensible clothes and looking quite posh, and when they're here they're in their scrappy clothes. And I recognise people on site. It's really weird, but when I see them off site, I'm absolutely useless. I mean, our vet, Maru, was walking up the road the other day, and I suddenly looked round as I was driving down the road. I think, I know her. And it was Maru. I mean, that's a bit insane. It's the great thing of being old and senile. The great thing about being senile is you forget that you were rude to somebody, nasty to somebody, so you just live the other day. You live on another day without worrying about it. And that works for me.
Laura Kane has asked, she got foxcubs under the decking, which is great, but can she still jet wash and sit on it?
Sit on it, yes. If there's a lot of gaps in the slats of the decking, I would tend, please, just to lay off the jet washing for a few weeks, let them get on a bit further, let them go. You know, they will move on, as all fox cubs do. But yeah, just to have a bit of time for them, give them a bit of time, give them a bit of space. If you want to sit on the decking, no problem, because they've got to get used to people, sadly, because we're all over the place. We've taken all their habitat over the last 100 years. But yeah, live and let live. That's what I say, guys.
Brandon has asked, what are your views on the new invasive species law? Now, unfortunately, this one's going to get a bit heavy, I think.
Which ones are we talking about? Are we talking any particular species, or are we talking about all of the recent laws that have come into force?
The new Invasive Species Act, I believe.
Okay, so we're talking primarily, presumably, I guess, about grey squirrels.
Grey squirrels, certain types of geese,
yeah.
deer.
I mean, mankind has a lot to answer for. We can't go into it fully tonight because I'd be here for 5 hours. I think the government institutions that implemented this and put it out are insane. They've got far better things, or should have far better things to deal with than what amounts to 700 squirrels being killed every year by wildlife centres. Our vets, our vet nurses, our volunteers work 7 days a week, often 14 or 15 hours a day and more, to get these animals back to the wild. And now, you know, you get, you know, I had one the other night. A little baby squirrel came in very late, and I had to put it to sleep. We can't afford, as one of the largest wildlife charities, to break the law. It would be impossible, but you have no idea how sick it makes me feel. It is insane. I'm at a loss for words, which doesn't often happen with me, actually. I am at a loss for words. We're still trying to overturn it. We've still got lawyers looking at it. We're still looking at the legal ways of doing something about it. Because if they want to spend all that money dealing with just 700 squirrels that will have to be killed by wildlife centres, and the stress it caused the wildlife centres who have to do it, then guys, you need to get a life. You're in the wrong job. Let's pass on quite quickly, Laurie.
Yeah, so just a bit of background for those of you who don't know. At the end of last year, there was a law passed here in the UK that prevents the release of a number of species, including grey-lag geese, grey squirrels, muntjac deer. Whereas previously we used to be licensed to release a certain number of those each year. That's now been revoked, and centres have very, very limited options when it comes to dealing with them. So that is something we are still fighting, as are many other wildlife rescues, as I'm sure you'd agree.
Scottish astrologer said something. I saw police and I saw police dogs. I got really excited, Laurie. She's very kindly just sent us £25, and she's going to her sister, who's a police officer. So they're doing a great job, as well as the HNS. HNS? Honestly, it's getting late, isn't it? NHS. I have so much respect for all these people who are on the front line at the moment. You have no idea. It chokes me up to talk about it, but they're doing a brilliant job. But there again, police dogs do a far better job. So police officers, okay guys, police dogs, you rock.
Just had a correction from Alice. Grey-lag geese actually aren't on there. It is Egyptian geese.
Okay.
So, I slightly misspoke on that one.
Oh, Laurie got it wrong. Laurie made a mistake, guys.
There's a lot of those.
Oh dear.
So more donations. The Warren has donated €50 and has put best wishes from the Netherlands. Sad to miss the previous stream. It's good to see you all, and I'm happy to say that our local swans are sitting on their eggs, and we're hoping to have little grey fluff balls soon. We haven't actually had any cygnets in this year, but
it'll come. And I just want to say thanks to Rory, who's 7, and he did his own raffle in December for us, and he loves WAF. So there we are. Thank you, Rory, age 7. I was 7 once. I was 7 once. I was 7. When was I 7? About 20 years ago, Laurie, wasn't I?
Back when the wheel was made, I think.
Thank you, Laurie. Okay, that's the end of Laurie's future here. All gone.
Gosh, we couldn't resist that one.
Ask me another.
Coco the quail has put, there's a fox attacking her chickens, or his chickens, I think it's her. How can we get rid of it?
Okay guys, this is always contentious. We're going to hit contentious areas now. If you have your pets, your domestic pets, your chickens, rabbits, whatever, out in the garden, you have to cage them properly. It's no good. We had a big row in the local paper actually a few years ago where somebody had caged in all their chickens, but they hadn't put a roof on it. So they had sides up to 5 foot tall, but then at night a fox got in and killed all the chickens. If you want to have chickens, you have to, or anything really, you have to put wire on all sides of the mesh, the floor, the roof, everywhere, because that will make them safe. And then they will be safe. People, foxes can't get in. We have taken all the habitat from our wildlife over many, many years, and they need to find food, especially this time of year when they're feeding young. They'll be much more brave than even the rest of the year. So yeah, please, 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 if you're going to have wildlife, if you're going to have domestics out there, cage them properly and they will be quite safe. Don't expect the fox not to go over a 5-foot fence to get something to eat. It can't go to Tesco's like we can, and it also has no idea how to do this social distancing, so it's a big problem in the queues. Go forward, Laurie, go forward.
Lucy has actually put, just to let you know, Sean injured himself today. He leant back on a garden chair and the back of it broke and he went off backwards.
I'm trying to keep a straight face, Laurie, now. Sean, I'm so sorry for you, Sean. Just give us money, Sean, and I'll be genuine about it. But I hope you feel better tomorrow.
I have a lot of video of you slipping on decking and falling.
I've slipped all over the place. I have done more outtakes than anybody could ever imagine. I've sworn on most of them, which Laurie has to blank out.
Yes, which is why you haven't seen most of them.
Excellent! I knew there was a method in my madness.
Getting out of showing his outtakes.
I used to like Nigel Grant, Laurie. He was quite a nice chap, wasn't he? I mean, he raised money for us for a year. Now he comes up with these very unpleasant snipes, Mr. Grant, of did I get my card from the Queen? I think we'll talk about that off a live feed, Mr. Grant. Thank you very much indeed. And keep sending.
If you don't know, in the UK, you get a card from the Queen when you hit your 100th birthday.
Okay, thank you. And Alice's answer was nearly as bad. So Alice, you're in the black books now as well. I like watching this, it's quite fun.
Oh God. Yes, just in case you didn't know, as Alice has said, it was Simon's birthday last Sunday. We did receive over 800 happy birthday messages for him, so I think you were quite surprised with that.
I was quite surprised and quite touched, though I never admitted it, because I don't admit my birthday. I like to think I'm still 30. I look in the mirror now, I have no idea who I'm looking at, because it's certainly not me. And I find it quite sad that I'm getting so old, but there we are. You can only do what you do.
A lot of people are saying they want to see your outtakes when you fall over.
I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to send outtakes. I mean, you might bleep some of them out, but yeah, I have no problem with outtakes. I mean, I make a complete tit of myself on many occasions, and that was as near as I get to swearing, Laurie, tonight. You'll be quite safe. But yeah, I can. Yes, it's quite funny. I quite like the outtakes. I know on some of the big films we've watched. I remember the Peter Sellers film once where they all got onto the lift. They'd done this scene, and they were doing a scene, and as they got in the lift, one of them mistakenly passed wind, and they were in hysterics, and it came in as an outtake at the end of the film, and that was better than the entire film. I mean, the film was quite good, but those outtakes were staggeringly funny. So let's do some outtakes. Oh, Rip Nigel, I like that. Well done, Laura. Rip Nigel. Bye-bye, Nigel. Your history.
Getting back to the topic at hand, we've had a number of donations. Robert Fletcher has donated £25 3 times, so that's very, very kind. It's put for the Fox kids and for Mr. and Mrs. Fox.
Thank you very much indeed.
Very much.
We've got to mention it, Laurie. I'm just going to stop you there because I've suddenly remembered I've got a whole list of things here that Laurie gave me to talk about.
I did. You've ignored them all.
I have. We've got live webcams, guys. We have live webcams. We have 4 cams which we put out, and they move. Different things come in, we do them. At the moment, we've got 4 gorgeous baby fox cubs on the webcams. No, is it 4 in that pen? I think it's 4. And we've also got 4 badger cubs as well. We've actually had no badger cubs up to last week. We had 4 in at the weekend. We've had 2 more badger cubs in today. I actually say we've got 5.5 badger cubs because one of them is very poorly, and we're going to try to get it through the next 72 hours, which will be critical. But we will get it back. We get them all back in the end. But do look at the webcams. They are fun. Even after 40 years, I still spend ages looking at the webcams, and I'm probably now going to upset Laurie hugely. So
I'm going.
You know what I'm going to do now, Laurie? I'm going to lift that up there. And I'm going to point it towards there because I watch all the cameras all day, so I can see what all the animals are doing. I can go on and make one screen. Sadly, as we talk, the badger cubs aren't out, but there's the badger cub mess with all their food. There's just one bottom sticking out on the left-hand side at the moment. Just now, before we started, they were all out playing. There's one just turning around towards you now. But do have a look at the webcams. They are fascinating. As the fox cubs, as the badger cubs get older, they'll be out in the big flight and they play at night, and it's amazing. And Laurie now needs to tell me whether this camera is roughly in the right place. Is that about the right place? Bit too much.
Not quite.
Bit better?
That's a bit better.
Okay, so we leave it. So now I put the camera back here. 2 badger cubs have come out. But guys, look at the webcams. They're fun, they're beautiful, and I love them to pieces.
And we will continue to update those, actually, throughout the year as the foxes and badgers move around the centre. We'll move the cameras with them, so you should be able to see their entire journey.
And we got ducklings on the cam. We put everything on there. Anything that's really cute and lovely, we put them out. And when we get some Tawny owl chicks in, as I say, we nearly had these 2 in tonight, but luckily we managed to get them back out. But you don't know, but we will have Tawny owls, and they're very beautiful. They go from the egg to fully mature in 16 weeks. It's very scary. I always made a joke that I'm 68, I still haven't matured, but Laurie's nearly 68 and he hasn't matured either. So there we are, 16 weeks from egg to fully mature and flying. That's some feat.
I'm 27, though I do feel 68.
You look older than me actually, Laurie, now. It worries me.
I do.
You do, he does.
A lot of people are saying I look tired and worn out. So.
There's all these side conversations going in here. I can't, there's Lucy talking with Alice, and there's all sorts of things going on here. We can't see Laurie now, they're just saying. Have we lost you, Laurie?
No, I disappeared because I was running away when you were talking about.
Oh, were you running? Okay, so Laurie's back on screen now.
I am.
He's back, as Myra just says. So anyway, no, I mean, to all our volunteers here, you put up with a lot. You work the most absurd hours, and at the moment, a few of you are doing the work of the many. So it is staggering. I mean, WildlifeAid has always been successful, but it's been successful because of the volunteers it uses, abuses, and give of their time so amazingly well. So thank you for that, everyone. It is staggering. So what else we got going on, Laurie? I've got a question for Lucy now. A lot of people obviously are stuck in their gardens, so they're doing their garden, making it all look lovely, and that's great. But please do spare a thought for the wildlife that you might have in your garden. We've had a lot of baby rabbits in over the last few days because people have been digging and moving stuff, and they dig up a little burrow where the rabbits are, and they bring them in a box. Sometimes they come in, they're wet and cold, and they die. But you know, if you do see something like that, just back off, just leave it for a few weeks, guys, and go back to it in a few weeks' time, and everything will have moved on and everything will be fine. So if you're working in your garden and you suspect there might be something wrong, A, you can always give us a ring, but B, you know, just back off and talk about it before you do it, or think about it before you do it, because wildlife really needs every chance it can get at the moment. And so be nice to wildlife. You don't have to be nice to me. I'm so old, I don't remember if you're nasty to me now. Laurie does that. No, Laurie does that all day. He's nasty to me, and he says, I was nice to you yesterday, and I don't remember. So I say, yes, Laurie, of course you were.
I will be eventually.
Okay, then.
Old Ham Radio has asked, was there ever a time you were called out to rescue a sparrowhawk or other bird in a warehouse or large building, and it turned out just to be impossible to catch?
Never. And never that we admit to. There was one, I remember, that which we were going to go back to. We spent a long time. Laurie was with me, I think, on that one. I think it was Laurie.
Yeah, I was.
And we couldn't get it. It was a massive warehouse, and it was very high.
About 5 or 6 hours, I think.
Yeah, we spent a long time there. We couldn't get it, so we were all geared to go back out the next day to get it, because we would have got it. We don't give up. And it decided to fly out of the window, or fly out of the door. So that saved us a lot of effort, but we would have done it. We do not give up, guys. And Laurie's actually worse than I are. Laurie is so, not contentious. What's the word I want? Give me a word.
Stubborn.
No, yeah, there's a word like contentious that's different. Somebody tell me the word, because it's really annoying me now.
Yeah, I
pretentious. I can think of all these words about you, Laurie. Pretentious, contentious.
Charming.
That doesn't rhyme. Anyway, guys, we'll get the word of it. Somebody will say the word in a minute. I can see it coming. Tell me more. Have you had more wildlife visible since the lockdown started, do you think? Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, there is less visible overall because there's less wildlife, but that which is here has become more visible over the last few weeks. I mean, I've been going out in the morning and I can hear far more birdsong than I've ever heard before because there's no cars on the roads. I don't know if it's just me or my age, but the air smells mega cleaner than it ever has before, which is why I keep saying paradigm shift. And nobody, conscientious, well done, mostly sane, that was the word I wanted, conscientious. What was I, now I've forgotten what I was talking about. Pernickety, no, that's the wrong word, guys. Yeah, paradigm shift. Somebody come back to me and say paradigm, or tell me all about paradigm shift, because it fascinates me. I can't believe that I put a tweet out about it a few days ago, thinking it would be inundated with comments, and I had nothing. Guys, we need to protect this world, and if you look up paradigm shift and have a think about it, it's what we need on this planet. It's what we need to take notice of, and what governments need to take notice of, because we need to respect what helps us to survive. And as I said wrongly earlier on, we don't need the planet needs us. Absolutely rubbish. It is the other way round, which you will all have noticed and commented upon, I think.
WKD is asked, why not stream the webcam cameras on this channel? Now that is actually something we're looking into. I was chatting with our IT people earlier today, and that looks like it's going to be a possibility. So shortly you should be able to see all 4 of our main webcams on YouTube. So we'll let you know when that happens. Marshall Grant said,
who? Sorry, who do we talk about? Sorry, who was that word, Laurie? Nigel, I think we blocked him, didn't we?
Did you hear what he said? He said, Simon, tell us your age and I'll donate £1 for each year.
5,768 years old, Mr. Grant. Now let's see the colour of your money.
Oh, God.
I should have said 6.5 million years old, because people would have believed that, wouldn't they?
Yeah. He started the Big Bang.
Well, there, I did. Laurie, that's very careful on that one, Laurie. There could be all sorts of after the 9 o'clock watershed on that comment.
Oh, God. Daniel Simmons had asked, do you get many bats in? And if so, do they ever need to be passed on to specialist bat carers?
Yes, we do get bats in. I wish we did more. We've got some facilities for bats, not as much as we can. And bat carers obviously have absolutely pristine facilities for bats and all the stuff they need to look after them. So we do pass them on to bat carers, and they go back out to the wild. Obviously, this is what we all do anyway. But yeah, we do pass them on sometimes. Sometimes they're quick in and out, but sometimes they do need a bit of aftercare. So they go to bat carers and their special flight aviaries and everything else that they need to make sure they're absolutely super conditioned before they go back out. Now I'm just looking at my cameras now, Laurie, and 2 badger cubs are out there going berserk over the food, but I'm not going to move the camera again because you'll get upset with me. So you've got to watch your webcams, guys. Look at the webcams.
Just flicking through some of these comments.
Yeah, it was your comment, wasn't it? He's 5 million years old. Thank you, Mr. Braley.
That wasn't me, actually.
Who was?
I'm not sure if that was Abby or Alice, but it's one of them, not me.
Okay, just show.
Because you've got this.
Show us your money, Nigel. 5 million quid. That's it. That's the new centre built.
Sculptor watched the recent video we did where a deer actually fell into a swimming pool, one of the older ones from Wildlife SOS. Just a bit concerned about why we didn't take it back in and monitor it for a little while before releasing it.
You have to ask me that question again in a minute, because we've had to Nigel sent us a £68 donation. I can't understand why he put £68 on that. And then somebody's pushkite cam says Simon's a mummy. I'm not sure I like that or not. I'm not quite sure whether that's a nice comment or not. What does it mean, Simon's a mummy?
I have no idea.
Nor have I. So anyway, ask me that question again.
The Egyptian mummy.
Yeah, probably am. I'm absolutely totally preserved in Bacardi, guys. Now, what was your question again, Laurie? Let's go for it.
Basically, it's why don't we bring deer back to the centre more? Why do we deal with them on site as much as we can?
Predominantly in Surrey we have roe deer. There are some fallow and other deer, muntjac obviously, but roe deer are predominantly what Surrey is filled with, and they distress incredibly easy. They get stressed if they're too close to people, they get stressed if there's too much noise, and normally with a deer it's either so far gone that there's nothing you can do, like it's got 2 broken legs and is in a hell of a state, or it's quite minor and it's got a little gash where you can give it a long-acting antibiotic and stitch it up and get it straight back to the wild. I wish we could do all patients like that and deal with them in the wild and get them straight back out to the wild. You can't. With deer, actually, it's pretty clear cut. It's either going to be savable or it's not. And if it's savable, it's something we can do at the rescue scene and then go back from there. So we don't keep them in unless we really have to. We sometimes take a young one in, but then again, if it's still drinking from its mum, we need to get it to a feeder who can care for it, because deer need to bond with one person, a young deer, and it is 24 hours a day for some months, I mean many months, so it's not that easy. So yeah, that's why we don't.
Yeah, it's also worth saying that a lot of deer do get something called catch myopathy, which is effectively a stress-related heart attack when they're handled too much or brought into care, which is why you don't see us bringing things back to the centre to do sort of stitch-ups. We actually take a vet out with us and do it on site. Any travel, anything like that can push them over the line, and unfortunately, as soon as they start developing catch myopathy, there is nothing you can do about it, and that deer is going to die. So that's one of the reasons why you don't see us dealing with those a lot in the centre as well.
Absolutely right. I've had a question actually which we tend to avoid a lot of the time, but what do you do with the animals that sadly die in your care? Do you put them out for other wildlife to eat? Yes, we do, providing it's not euthanized with something that obviously another animal can't eat. But if something dies in our care, we do tend to give it to the animals that are here, because that's what they would eat naturally in the wild, and I believe it's all far more productive and it helps the food chain. I mean, if we sort of killed it, or everything we had to kill all died, we put in a deep freeze and then got incinerated, that's a bit of a waste to me, to be honest. So if something can go back into the food chain, it doesn't need its soul anymore, it doesn't need its body anymore rather, so off it goes and goes back into the food chain, and the animals that are here eat what they would eat naturally in the wild. So might sound a bit harsh, might sound a bit cruel, but that's what we do, guys.
Alushka 29HI or high has asked, do baby ducklings survive without their mum? They're nearly 3 weeks old, don't know what's happened to the mum. There is a pond not very far from where I live. Please reply if you can.
Difficult one without knowing a bit more and seeing what they are. 3 weeks old's a bit young. Certainly anything within the first week or so will need the warmth and the heat, because they can't self-regulate their temperature, they can't stay warm. So without seeing a picture and actually looking at the scenario, I would say they might need to go into a centre, but yeah, certainly anything younger than that would definitely need to go into a centre, or it's not going to make it. So the answer is send us a picture.
Yeah, so a lot of those, it is worth contacting your local wildlife rescue, whether it's us or whether it's someone else that's a bit closer to you. We do tend to ask a lot of questions. Some of them might not seem particularly relevant, but they are just helping us work out what we're going to do, whether we need to actually come and intervene, or whether we can just sort of sit back and let them go back with their parents. So we would certainly recommend getting in contact with the wildlife rescue.
Absolutely. Another thing I forgot, another thing on your list, Laurie, which probably came from Alice, is we've got to say a huge thank you to everybody who's donating on our Amazon wish list. We have so many boxes coming in through the centre at the moment. I mean, Alice has piles and piles of these boxes. She had so many the other day, she even disappeared, because she's not that tall, Alice, and she disappeared behind the boxes. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. You know, all charities need all the help they can get. I wish it all came to us, but sadly it won't. And my badgers are now fighting, so my mind's totally off what I'm supposed to be doing with you, because I'm watching them play fighting, I hasten to add. But yeah, look at the webcams. Look at the webcams, Guy, and thank you for the Amazon donations, guys. So much.
It is worth saying, in the first 2 weeks of lockdown, we received more than £700 of Amazon wishlist donations. So huge thank you to everyone who's done that. That is absolutely incredible. It does help us keep going.
Superb.
Brandon has asked, have you ever had a wildlife release go wrong?
I'm actually trying to think about this in all sincerity, because I'm going to say no, but I'm still cogitating in my brain. We sometimes release something and I don't think it was quite ready, so we catch it up again and do it again later. So maybe there's been the odd release where I just haven't been happy that it's gone off as it should do, and we pull it back in again. I can't think of many. Whether Lucy can from her days here, or Laurie can from his days, I don't know. My brain's saying no, but we might have had one which we had to maybe think about twice. Normally we always do a test on an animal before it goes back. If it's a bird that needs to fly or an animal needs to run well, we put it in a big enclosure and watch to see how it behaves and whatever. So we don't tend to get many wrong. We've probably had one or two where we just weren't happy. We had that heron actually, didn't we, Laurie? Do you remember? We released it in somebody's garden, and the first time it flew, but not that well, and landed quite quickly in the field. So we brought it back in.
Feel right.
Yeah, and we kept it.
Something felt off.
We kept it for another week, and second time it went off like an absolute demon and flew into the distance.
Beautifully. A few more donations. Grant Warkenton has donated 100 Canadian dollars, which is huge. Thank you very much. And has put happy belated birthday, Simon. So you'll have to acknowledge that one.
I have to acknowledge it. I am sadly 68 years old, but I always say I have a mental capacity of a person of 7 and a physical capacity of a person of 150. So take your pick. 68 will do for me.
Lucy's actually saying you had the Tawny one that during the release actually fell into the lake. That's up on YouTube.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, we released about 7 or 8 in one go, and one of them, idiot, flew along and decided to land in the middle of the lake, which we had to go and rescue. And we brought it back. It was absolutely fine. It just obviously didn't quite know what water was. It's like swans, you know, dark at night, the swans will land on a road thinking it's water, and then they come to grief or they land on a motorway. Perhaps this tawny elf thought it was something else. I don't know. But anyway, got it back, had it back for about a week, and it went off absolutely fine. Somebody just said, love Simon after a few glasses of Coke. It's only Coca-Cola, honestly. Trust me.
Well, it's Diet Coke.
It's Diet Coke, even better.
He doesn't buy a full-fat Coke. Don't ever buy him full-fat Coke.
No, I'm fully fat enough already. I need to be fully thinner.
You're basically 2D.
2D? 2D?
Back to questions, Simon.
Okay, alright then.
Brandon has asked, do you cure birds with canker or do you euthanize?
Everything we can cure, we cure. Sometimes the canker is so severe that we can't cure it, but most of the time we can. We are not species specific. I will say it 1,000,000 times over my lifetime. We will try to get anything back to the wild that can. If it can not go back to the wild for any reason that would just mean it wouldn't survive, we do euthanize. Canker is completely curable. It's rather like mange in foxes. Oh, if a fox gets mange, you put it to sleep. Exactly the same as scabies with humans. So I think we should put all humans to sleep who have scabies. That'd be quite fun. That would lower the human population. But I promised not to go there tonight, didn't I, Laurie?
You can't say this.
I can't say that. Forget that. It's going backwards, guys.
Yeah. Our general rule with canker is if we can feed a feeding tube down the bird's throat, even if it takes a little time, we will try. So we've got quite a high success rate with canker. There are sadly certain cases that are not savable, that's progressed too much, but we will try. Georgia or Jorge, I'm not entirely sure, has put, do wild toads like to be handled with gloves?
And because, you know, I'd like to let Laurie have his head in some of these meetings, really. I'm going to pass that question to him because I just want to see how much he's really learnt from me over the years.
Well, to be honest, all wild animals, whether it just be foxes, toads, birds, they have a natural aversion to humans, so they don't particularly enjoy human contact or like human contact or seek out human contact. You do get ones that are tamed, but a wild animal has an ingrained fear of humans, and we really should leave well alone as much as we can. Observe at a distance, fine, just don't interfere, don't get involved. There's no need to pick them up, that's of no benefit to that particular animal. Just watch and be grateful, I suppose, that we are in the position that we can observe these creatures in the wild from where they're meant to be. I think that's my answer.
Like all wild animals, if you don't have to handle them, don't. If they don't need coming to us, and if they're not ill, leave them alone, but enjoy them for what they are in the wild.
A few more donations. So Terry Martins has donated $50, so thank you very much. And Nigel Grant has donated £68. I've no idea where he got that particular figure from.
I told that. We've talked about that, Laurie. Your memory's going.
My memory always goes.
We've been into the Nigel Grant £68.
Matthias Bergman has donated €25 as well just now, so thank you very much.
Lots of money. Guys, thanks so much. We've now got 4 badger cubs out. See, I'm getting so excited. This is why my mind's wandering now. 4 of my baby badgers are out eating their food. It's like the Battle of the Somme out there at the moment. It really is like World War I battleground. Lovely. Watch the webcams, guys. All I can say to you is watch the webcams.
Teresa's asked, what animals are the most difficult to catch?
It's got to be. Well, it depends. It depends what's the matter with it. I mean, it could be something small that runs away from you. It could be whatever. I mean, the most difficult and probably dangerous are deer, to be honest.
Yeah, mobile deer are quite bad.
Yeah, they're quite dangerous, especially if it's a male deer and it's got antlers. We do have to be really, really careful. And we went out to rescue, Laurie and I remember this one a while ago, where this deer was running towards one of our volunteers who wasn't perhaps that good at rescuing, and he was about to try and grab it by the antlers. It was running towards him at about 500 miles an hour, to which I screamed very loudly and told him to get away from it, because it would have done him serious damage. So you've got to understand, you've got to feel what you're doing, you've got to know what you're doing. So yes, deer are probably the most difficult in some ways. Obviously time consuming are often the sparrowhawks or the kestrels up in the top of a warehouse, or even owls at the top of trees, as we found out today.
That wasn't too bad. We were out for about 2.5, 3 hours, I think, in total for that one. Laura Kane, who's one of our volunteers, has asked, when is the best time to tune into the webcams?
You never know. If you watch them all day, every day, especially when you're in lockdown, you will be fascinated and amazed and incredulized and conscientious, which is a word I now remember.
It tends to be the badgers certainly are far more active at night. The foxcocks will be more active at night as well. They will pop up throughout the day, but both of them are cleaned in the morning, so they tend to be a bit sort of locked down at that point. In terms of the bluetit nest, early morning, sort of early afternoon, you tend to see the parents coming in and out, but that will change. Obviously, as eggs are laid, we'll have a bluetit staying in there a bit more often.
And when they start feeding their young, they'll do over 1,000 trips a day with things for the babies. 1,000 trips a day. Can you imagine that, guys? That's a lot of trips.
Mad, really. Brandon has asked again, do you have a lot of seabirds? They've got fulmars and a curry shearwater, actually, which looks the same as a juvenile fulmar. We've not had curry shearwaters, we've had Manx shearwaters here.
We have, and we get fulmars sometimes, and we get if anybody said seagulls, I'll kill them. You know what? I get very cross with seagulls. There's no such thing as a seagull. I think there are over 50 species of gull, and none of them are called seagulls. So there's lots of different gulls. The herring gulls and black-headed gulls and all sorts of gulls, or they're called lorry gulls, because he does make a lot of noise sometimes. No, so yes, we do get quite a few. They don't always stick to the coast. We have fulmars in. I quite like fulmars. They're quite cute.
I like fulmars.
Yeah, we get them in.
I like kittiwait.
You are my little kittiwait, my little cherub kittiwait. Oh heaven! Is it past 8 o'clock yet? I think Laurie's reached his sell-by date, guys.
We do have the last few minutes, so please keep your questions coming in. We'll try and get through as many as we can, but we will have to sign off in the next couple of minutes. Nathaniel has asked how much money is spent per month on food here at the centre.
I wish you hadn't.
For the animals, not the volunteers.
I wish you hadn't asked me that, because I do forget. I mean, we spend our running costs last year were just in excess of £650,000, and not much of that goes on salaries. Sadly, it certainly doesn't all go on my salary. I wish it did. But yeah, I don't know. Without breaking it all down, I mean, we use a ton of dog food a month, probably a bit more than that in the winter. If you wanted me to break it all down, I could, but I would have to ring our accountants up and double check, because it's gone are the days when I had all the figures in my head.
What do you prefer, blackbirds or robins?
I like them all.
Question for you.
That's a very funny question. I love any bird. Some birds, I mean, some birds you think you wouldn't really like have characters. I mean, it's the character of the animal that I love, and all animals have a different character. We had something in a few years ago. It was a jackdaw who was a real pain in the bottom, but he had such a character. I love them all, so I don't have any specific. Oh look, somebody just said, oh, this is Alice, and Alice is going off now. Alice has lost it as well. She's been drinking. at least £300 on cherry lattices. Yeah, I do love Waitrose cherry lattices, guys. I do have a bit of a passion for those.
He has about 400 in his freezer.
No, I don't have 400. I have about 8 at a time, and I eat at least one a day until I get too fat. Then I have to stop eating them for a couple of days because I feel real guilty. And yeah, I've got a very sweet tooth, guys. I could live on sweet things for the rest of my life quite happily. Forget all the sort of things that are good for you. I like sweet. I love marzipan. I love coconut. I love cherry lattice. I could go on forever. Almond, marzipan. I could eat marzipan by the chunks. We're supposed to be talking about wildlife here, Laurie. Where are we going? What's going on?
Back to wildlife.
Back to wildlife.
Shirinova asked, what do you do with neophytes? Do you still treat them or do you release them back?
About what?
Neophytes. So neophytes are species that are new to an area that aren't previously native there.
Don't you get technical with me. I nearly swore then. I just missed out the word I was going to say. We try to release always where they should be. So I'm neonates and neophytes coming up here.
Neophytes are basically invasive species.
Yeah. We have to abide by the law. If we're not made to kill them, we don't kill them, absolutely. But if we have to by law, sadly, we are too big a centre to flaunt the law. And I certainly wouldn't want to be closed down, which it could happen. I think it's unlikely, but it could happen. So we have to abide within the law. That's not to say we agree with the law or we agree with some of the government's rulings. But more of that one day soon, hopefully when our lawyers have done a bit more work.
Sarah's asked, do we plan on doing more live streams? So I think the plan at the moment is to do this every 2 weeks during lockdown. We know a couple of you guys have been quite keen on seeing this random chat of madness a bit more often. So we're currently planning on every 2 weeks. But if you do have anything that you'd like to see, anyone you'd like to see on, any topics you'd like, please let us know and we will do our best to get to them.
We will. We've overrun horrendously, Laurie.
Terry says, where and how do you find your staff and volunteers? They tend to find us, really.
They do, yeah, they do. It's amazing. I think it's like anything in this world. If you need something, it will come. I'm a great believer in the universe giving you what you need, not what you want, but what you need. And I believe that's why I think the new centre will come. That's why I think we still need this paradigm shift. Nobody has come back to me on paradigm shift. I'm very ashamed of you all, people. Next time we talk, I want to talk more about paradigm shifts because it's my big thing and has been for about 10 years and nobody's picked me up on it. So, yeah, how it's cherry... I'm obsessed. Yeah, I'm getting obsessed with eating cherry lattices, according to people now. Can you cuddle a badger? Not on my watch, you can't, and they'll bite you if you do.
Question from Kate. What's the strangest place you've seen a fox get stuck?
I think probably the one, several, but probably the one with the
broken.
Broken. Probably the one with the head through the wheel's got to be the most peculiar, bizarre thing. But then we had that foxed up with its leg twisted through nearly 100 degrees in a gate. Yeah, they tend to get and we had that one on the about 50 feet up on a small balcony, didn't we? We have lots of them. Yeah. Foxes do get themselves into a lot of trouble, guys. So you know, we never know what's going to come later on.
I think the strangest one I've seen is the one that jumped through a tree in the middle of a garden with complete access round, and it got wedged in a bit.
Laurie, hang on. Come back on that question in a minute. I'm getting picked up on my English now. Oh, Simon, it's flout the law, not flaunt the law. To flaunt is to show off. Okay, point taken, but I like to flaunt a bit as well. I'm a bit of a flaunter on the quiet. So we'll try not to flout the law, but we'll try not to flaunt too much either. Laurie, ask me the question again. Sorry, Guy.
I've completely forgotten what the question was. I will be honest.
Laurie's getting like me. It's sad that Laurie's so much younger than me, yet he's turning into me already. That's quite scary, Guy.
What's the strangest place you've seen a fox get stuck? And as I was saying, I think the stranger one I saw is the fox that had jumped through the middle of the tree in the middle of the garden.
Oh yeah, that was a bit weird.
It restricted access around it, so this fox had just decided to jump over a tree for the sheer hell of it, and it got stuck in the middle of it. That was a very, very odd place to find a fox, and it did look rather embarrassed, if I remember right.
We haven't mentioned IDOT today, so we're going to overrun even more now because IDOT is really important. We've got it all over the IDOT website. We've got it on the wildlife website. IDOT is really important. It's a bit to do with paradigm shift, so we got that word in again. Please guys, tell everybody to do one thing a day for either our wildlife or for our environment. We need to get this counter really spinning, and the more it spins, the more we can say we have genuinely made a massive difference for this planet. So IDOT's great. Please tell everybody about it. It is literally, I do one thing. It can take you minutes. It can take you longer if you want it to. It's even just picking up a rubber band or a bit of broken glass from the floor. Something really simple to something really complicated. We need to start respecting and helping our planet. Don't we, Mr. Brayley?
We do. And I do think that is a fantastic term to end on, don't you think?
I think it's good enough for me, but you wanted the last word again, didn't you then? I gave you the last word. You see, and he does it. Every time he does it to me, he's a nightmare. Working with a nightmare.
Bye, or thank you, or anything to anyone. We can't end just yet.
I'm going to say conscientious and flaunt. I'm not going to forget this flaunt. I'm going to flaunt everywhere for the next week, Laurie. And on that happy note, I don't know about Laurie, but I'm going to say good night, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Any questions, any comments about the live stream tonight, do let us know, because we need your feedback to know whether you want us never to do it again, whether you want us to do it every night. Tell us what you want and we will do our very best. And next time we're going to talk more about audience development for the new centre, which I totally forgot about tonight. And Laurie's mum is going to kill me. I'm going to be dead probably by the next one. So Laurie will be sitting in my seat, I guess. Guys, it's good night from me and...
Good night from me. Thank you very much.